Oh, ladies, you are in for a treat today. I have two guests, Wanda and Marianne. And if you're thinking about, I need more time, I need more energy, this episode is for you.
You're listening to the Dynamic Women podcast. Each week, you'll be inspired by our global community of women. They'll share with you tools and stories to help you be dynamic in every area of life. He's your host, award-winning coach, and the CEO and founder of Dynamic Women, Diane Ralston.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Diane Ralston, and I am your host for the Dynamic Women podcast. And today, time, energy, these are the two things that we want more of. And we are going to talk about how you can leverage your time and energy. And I have the joy of introducing you to two amazing ladies. I'm going to jump into a little bit of their bios first. So first we have Marianne D'Alessandro. She has been an executive assistant for over 30 years, and she's the owner and virtual assistant for TimeFlies-Admin Services. Her extensive experience in the corporate world transfers into virtual support for small to medium-sized business owners. She has taught at Niagara College in the office administration program, and there's so much more that you're going to learn about her. But let me first jump over to Wanda Davis, because you need to know who she is so that we can start this conversation. So Wanda is a professional speaker and life coach who helps all ages figure out who they are meant to be. And as a personal growth alchemist, she supports changes through people's adult growing pains to get unstuck and into the flow with grace and ease. So welcome, ladies.
Hi, Diane. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, welcome. And I always like having on this show just women who are doing well in their industry and who have things to share, right? We're all about sharing tips and tools and techniques. And I know that time and energy are the things that my people want more of. They want to find more of. So are you going to give us some tips on how to get more of those today?
Lots of them.
Yeah. Good to hear. So every time I go to ask you something, I will say your name so that our listeners know who is sharing with us. And so one of the, our podcast in my community is called Dynamic Women. And Wanda, the first questions for you is, how does the word dynamic relate to our energy? And I know that I just want to be clear here. We're talking about deeper energy, not just energy in like, I'm feeling tired today, I don't have energy. That you're going to go into this deeper piece of energy. So share more about what that is in relation to being dynamic.
Okay, Diane. Well, yes, that's just it. I'm talking about that vital life force energy that we all have, because that's what makes us alive. And of course, the more of that life force energy that we have and the better that it's flowing, that's for the better health that we have. And of course, then the better to be able to do other things. So when you talk about, of course, being dynamic, that just brings up visions of having so much of this life force energy that you're able to just take on the world and reach your goals.
Now, I'm feeling a bit of that like life. I was like the other day, I was like, where's my mojo? I need more of my mojo back. And so there are different things that can happen in our lives. Like I was saying to you earlier, my losing my father in August, that's definitely killed my energy. And it's also kind of made time warp a little bit for me.
For sure. And that's just it. It's like, even when we talk about being drained of energy, of course, that means it's perhaps that vital life force energy of yours is not flowing as well as it could be. So the whole idea is I can give some tips about perhaps filling yourself up more with this energy. And the whole idea is some of these tips, you don't need to have to be trained in any specific energy techniques, such as Reiki, for an example. Yep. Anybody can get in touch with their own energy. So the whole idea is we all are an energy body. We're made up of energy, and it's all about tuning in to your own energy to be able to understand, kind of how you are different. How are you unique? And it's that kind of that unique stamp that you're going to put on the world by, of course, putting out your own energy.
Yeah. And when you say about putting out your own energy, let's go to Marianne. Sometimes people in our lives can drain our energy, and then they drain our time. They take away our time. So I know that you have experience in, like, if people have multiple bosses, multiple clients, like, how do we handle that time management? This could even be for the mom that has to handle, like, the energy and time with the pack, and then with the kids, and then with the husband, with the neighbor, and whatever it may be. So how do you handle time management when you're juggling multiple clients, multiple people that are pulling from your time?
Yeah, that becomes really difficult, but we only have so much time, right? Time doesn't grow on us. We all have 24 hours a day. So I like to look at it as task management more so than time management. So really look at what's the task at hand, what can you handle, and then go from there. Because an hour doing something uninterrupted could mean you're much more productive with your tasks, but an hour with children around may mean you're not going to get as much done. So as far as managing the time, look at more so managing the tasks that need to be done.
Yeah, I've heard that before in task management. So I'm glad you brought that up, because there's not many people that are talking about task management and being able to really separate that out. So I'm sure you have many techniques for what to do when you're thinking about different tasks and how you're going to manage them. So what are some techniques that you have for that? And then I want to go to Wanda and see about what are some of these energy techniques that she uses. So start with you, Marianne.
Sure. I mean, the biggest thing, of course, is keep a list. Get it off your mind and put things on a list so that you're not thinking of something else while you're doing the task at hand. Just keep that sheet of paper, do the list, and focus on what needs to be done. Maybe in the morning or the night before, pick 2 or 3 things that you have to get done the next day. They are the key priority things. And that's what you start focusing on. But then again, if you're not a morning person, focusing on the big project in the morning isn't a good thing. So ease into it, maybe with some smaller pieces. So take that bigger task, break it down, and try to work through some of the smaller pieces and get those check marks done.
Yeah, we like getting those check marks.
Yeah.
Okay, so listeners, are you hearing what Marianne is saying? Make that list. But she said the key priorities that need to be on your list. And the greatest F word that you need to be using is focus. And it's not always easy when you have kids around. I get it. I know my kids are 5 and 8. One of them totally bombed my video conference that I was doing the other day in a ninja costume. I get it. But I have my hours during the day where I do get to focus. And if we pick that 1, 2, or 3, like, have to do tasks, then we'll get that check mark that Marianne has been mentioning. Okay, let's come back to you, Wanda. Energy. Can I even mention vampire suckers? I don't know if you're going to get into that, but saving our energy, like, how do we do that? What are some techniques that we can do during the day? Easy, put them in, because as we know, like, time.
And that's just it. So I always say, first of all, get in tune with your own energy, just to see where you're at, perhaps on whatever your scale of being drained or feeling great and full of energy. And the best way to do that, of course, is just stop and relax. So, and the best way to do that is take those breaths. So make sure that you make some time in your day to actually tune into yourself and just do some deep breaths. So of course, meditating is great as well, but a lot of people sometimes might feel that's almost too much for them. But deep breathing is a great way to tune in. So of course, you have deep breathing, you're kind of getting a feel for how you are feeling. But then some of the ways of actually, of course, bringing in more energy would be, of course, you want to bring in that beautiful, positive type of energy, right? And the best way to get that is probably out in nature.
Huh.
Even just watching or looking at a picture of nature is going to be able to help you improve your energy if you're not able to get out. Or even just that imagining of bright white light, or imagining that the sun is shining down on you. And just imagine it filling you up with energy, whichever way you want to visualize it. So the idea is kind of you can bring the mind into here too as well, right? Visualizing yourself being filled with bright white energy. And just the idea that the universe is limitless. You will never run out of energy. There's no way that you're taking it from other people if you're just attracting this beautiful, bright energy. But of course, on the other hand, in times of stress, in times of things happening in your life, you can have that frazzled feel of energy, right?
Yes.
We've talked about being low on energy, but just being frazzled, so many things coming at you because you are so busy and you haven't made your list. So the whole idea is what you need to do then is probably become more grounded. Like you have all this frazzled energy going around. So imagining just being like that grounding wire, that plug that goes into the wall, that it connects to the earth.
Yeah.
So the idea, however, which way that you might want to visualize being able to release perhaps some of this frazzling energy. So whether you want to imagine yourself being a tree, you can be attracting the beautiful energy with your leaves and your branches, bringing that into your body. But if there's extra frazzled energy that's just not flowing right, you can kind of connect to the ground with your roots and be able to, let go and release of that type of energy. So again, it's that being aware of what your energy is like. What do you need more of? Perhaps is there something that you can release? And we talked about you mentioned the energy vampire. So again, that could happen sometimes in a stressful type of situation, or perhaps another person that is perhaps not respecting your energy and they're trying to, as you say, suck the energy out of you.
Yeah.
One technique for being able to help with that, of course, is number one, making sure that your energy is filled up as much as you can be. And of course, remembering that it can continually be filled up. But also the whole idea, even just spreading out your energy. Remember, energy, the energy that I'm talking about, this life force energy, like your chakras, meridians, that type of stuff. The whole idea is that's not limited to just your physical body. That can be spread out as well. So if you're working with people that are causing you stress and making you feel drained, one idea is to actually, what we call it, being space. So the idea is just, again, taking those deep breaths and just kind of expanding your being, your energy being. And the whole idea is it can be expanded as much as you are able to, and you can do it more and more when you practice. It's very calming, and they're not going to suck your energy away. If you're able to just kind of spread out.
Yeah. Now I bet a lot of the dynamic women listening right now. So I'm speaking to you ladies. Some of you are like, oh, I get it. I could totally be a tree. I can visualize this. I can put my energy out. I'm an expert at it, or I feel cool, really good with doing that. And then there are other people that are more analytical that are like, what's this with being a tree? I can't do that. And so I want to speak to both sides here, that however way you come about this is fine, right? So you can actually hire someone like Wanda to take you through these different activities to help you to understand how to do it. But you can use guided meditations. I love, just to get me to kind of breathe, is just to put some oil on my pulse points, just to kind of get me breathing heavy and breathing in and out. And so if this feels foreign to you, just seek out the right people to be able to support you with this, and to know that there are other ways to do it if one of the ways doesn't feel like the right fit for you. But
and I was just going to say, Diane, too, it's like my background. I have a master's in medical sciences.
Yeah.
I still am quite often a very left brain analytical person. And the whole idea was kind of I've been pulled into this area. And I'm not kind of one of those fluffy, floofy energy worker type of people. I look at it in terms of from the analytical part, from the scientific area, quantum physics and all that type of stuff. So the whole idea is is different ways to be able to help you calm your mind if that's what you need to do.
Exactly. And so, and in a moment, we're going to go to Marianne, because I would love to hear, because she has a background in corporate. She was in corporate for 32 years. And so I'm very curious how you balance your time and energy in the corporate environment and now in this environment. But I just want to recap for everyone listening, the simplicity of one of the things that Wanda said of, if you do have more time, then go get into nature, put your feet in the sand, right? Go and hike, go touch a tree, go be out in nature and enjoy it. If you don't have the time, it's as simple as having a picture of nature. Just Google picture of nature. I have a sad light on my desk, or you could use, if you have a light ring or something, you could put that light on. You could look at that image of the sunset, sunrise, beautiful beach, whatever it is, and then close your eyes and just sit there and breathe for like 1 or 2 minutes. And that will do get you fantastic results as well. So Marianne, how do you do it? Time and energy balanced with corporate, and now you're running your own business. How have you been able to do this?
Some days I don't know. Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
But really, I'm very structured. I'm a very, very structured person. So for me, I feel like I'm in the perfect career for the type of individual I am.
Mm-hmm.
I like to have my lists. I like to look at everything. I like to plot it out. I like to plan it out. One key thing I find with people is we tend to say, oh, I'll save this for Monday, or I'll save this for Tuesday, or I'll save all my emails for Friday. And then all of a sudden we're super overwhelmed on Friday because we've not only saved this big chunk of work, but we have our regular stuff we need to do. So one of the techniques that I try to share with people and have them do is to plot things out on a week or a month. And this is just drawing it on a piece of paper, make it look like a calendar, and write down all of the routine tasks and work that you need to get done. And look at where you're unbalanced. Are you putting too much in one day and then stressing out the rest of the week? So you need to find some empty space in your calendar and in your days so that you can, get in tune with nature, have a little time for yourself, do some deep breathing, and not feel so overwhelmed that you can't get through the day.
Yeah. That's a good tip to visualize it, to see it on paper. Also reminds you of all the things that you're responsible for. And I've often said to clients, like, put in there all your kid stuff too, and put in there if you're doing any evening events or such, because it can be stressful to have to rush here and there. And I know for me, when I have stuff in the evenings, I like to take some time in the afternoon to just chill, to relax, because I won't get that time in the evening.
That's right. And I find people tend to keep their children's stuff separate. Sorry. And really, you shouldn't keep it separate, because now you've got 2 different streams and you're really going to be super busy.
Yeah. We'll jump over to Wanda for a moment. Wanda, with the these techniques, how can we use techniques to reach our goals? So Marianne's, sharing about how we plot things out and we make lists and we focus on the right things. How can we use energy techniques though to reach our goals?
Well, first of all, again, being more aware of your energy, different ways of working with your energy. So a lot of ways that you might want to practice first would be getting that feel for your own energy. And again, being able to move your energy, of course, first of all, within your own body. So of course, this is great for the physical body, being able to, add extra energy to an area that is sore or has physical issues to it. You can just imagine perhaps flowing the energy to, a sore shoulder or a sore hip, and just having the energy boost in that area.
We just
But
do
the whole
by
idea of once you
imagining.
get that idea of flowing the energy, moving the energy, you can use it for different purposes as well. You have a goal. So again, visualizing, you could write this down again, like to be able to help visualize it. So, making a little list, a task list, and moving, pulling, pushing your energy towards that goal. Like imagining moving that energy, your own energy towards a goal. So the idea is that might be difficult at first. So that's why I say usually start with your physical body first.
Yeah.
And even when you're, say, working out, it's really great to be able to run your energy, move your energy to maybe that part of your body that you're moving as well when you're exercising. So you kind of get you get better at being able to flow. I always talk about flowing your energy.
Yeah.
So being able to flow your energy towards different goals, or perhaps towards your bank account for money, or perhaps shining bright lights, or like this bright white light that's so positive onto this goal that you have, imagining, visualizing it done, and then, bringing in the energy, which way you want to think about it.
Nice. And I'm glad that you brought in the physical piece, because I play soccer. This past weekend, I had 2 soccer games, Friday night and Sunday morning. I'm hurting today. And so this idea of moving energy to that area is a really cool concept that I'm going to start visualizing the positive energy going to those spaces. But it was kind of hard for me to think of, like, how do I do that? But then when you gave that idea of working out and how we push energy to those areas, that totally made sense. So if you're listening, maybe you're out walking, maybe you're driving your car, but you can do something probably as simple as kind of close your hand. And when you close your hand, you just, like, it's closing the hand. You've just told it to do that. But what if you put energy into closing your hand? What if you were really active in the closing of the hand? What if you put more energy into it? You can start to feel that. And I think we're in our heads. Even I said, I think we're in our heads, right? We're often in our heads so much that if we can get into our bodies. And so maybe a cool idea for our listeners is every morning, do a physical check. Where is your energy sitting, and where is it stagnant, and where is it hurting, and where can you pull from and draw to?
And not necessarily pulling from your energy necessarily, right? You can be bringing in more energy again. So it's like that idea of limitless. It's out there. All you need to do is just access it, and anybody can do this.
Yeah. Great. So now we know what to kind of physically do with our bodies to have more energy and to be able to leverage. I love the idea of pulling energy from outside, because we often feel like we have no more energy to give. And I know that a lot of our listeners are moms, right? I give a lot of love out to our moms out there. We hear you, we see you, we know you're working hard. So Marianne, what do you think? Like, working from home is such a challenge. And now the world knows that because of COVID. And I feel like it's so great because people are accepting of, like, the people at this conference were so accepting of my son being dressed as a ninja sitting on my chair with me. They were so accepting of it. However, he distracted the crap out of me because he's like hitting me with his spongy sword. So, and I see the mess in my house. I see the laundry that needs to get folded. Like, how do I, and the people listening, how do we not be distracted by all this household stuff and chores that we need to do so we can focus on building our business or doing the things we need to do?
It's really tough because we want to spend time with the kids, and we want to make sure all the housework is done before we actually sit down and do our work, right? We want to make sure the house is perfect and tidy, but that's not going to happen. So let's get realistic. So maybe, you set a routine with you and the kids, or just you in the morning, you get up, you just tidy up a few little spaces that make you feel comfortable. Then you sit down and work out that list. What are the 2 or 3 things I need to get done today, and spend some time focusing on it. So when you stop for lunch, you get the kids going, maybe you give the kids a few little tasks to get done while you're starting the lunch for them. Tidy up maybe 1 or 2 areas there, and then get back to focusing and give yourself that time. Maybe it's 2 hours, maybe it's 3 hours where there's no housework. There's just forget it. It's there. It's going to be there. It'll be there for you tomorrow. You know, I remember I had a coworker at the end of the day, she'd take her files, she'd put them in her desk, and she'd say, it's going to be here tomorrow. So it will always be there. It's never going to be perfect, but think of what the priority is. So if the floor really needs washing, then make that a priority item for today and don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah, that's good. And if we can just focus on those few items and get those done, then we will feel accomplished to be able to even take on bigger tasks. Okay, now, Wanda, I'm going to come to you with a final question, with some final advice for our audience. And Marianne, just a heads up, we definitely want some of your tools. Like, what tools do you use online? What things do you find, are helpful? We're going to come back to that. So the apps and tools that you use, I think that's a really great thing that people can have in their back pocket so that they can save more time. But Wanda, energy. Like, what's your final advice, your best golden nugget you can give the Dynamic Women listeners?
Well, I was kind of going to give two.
Okay.
So the first one actually more has to do with the time management that we're talking about. And I find that the best way to help with that time management is actually do that pause. Do that pause and think about what is on my list, right? So, and the idea is the more that you actually have that pause, sometimes you're amazed at how much more you can accomplish afterwards. Wow. But what I was really going to say, my big advice for our listeners is self-care, especially in these times when things can be so chaotic and so stressful. We really don't know what's going to be changing from day to day. You really need to take care of your physical body, but that also means taking care of your energy body as well, because both come hand in hand. You need to be taking care of both. So making sure that you do that self-care. So again, scheduling time for yourself, making sure that you're putting in, yes, you're scheduling in time for your family, your kids, your husband, but also scheduling time in just for you. So what does that mean to you? Was that going to be a bubble bath? Is that going to be a walk by yourself, or maybe just take the dog out? Something that is not necessarily a chore, that's self-care part of it, whether that's reading, doing something that you enjoy, listening to music, or is it just going to be dancing in the kitchen? Whatever type of what self-care means for you, but again, making sure that you schedule it in, because that's going to keep your energy body full of energy flowing. And of course, that's going to help you on all levels. So whether that's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual.
Yeah. And Dynamic Women out there, your energy body, it needs your attention.
Yes.
Your physical body will yell at you with pain. Your energy body will just be depleted. So yeah, put in that me time. Always has to be some me time. If self-care sounds too selfish, then think about being self-full. You need to be full so that you can give to everyone else. And there's that expression around, you have to have a full cup, and give from your full cup rather than the empty cup. But my feeling is you need to be so full that you're overflowing into the saucer. Not that many of us use a cup and saucer these days, but if you can give your energy from your saucer, imagine how much you will have for yourself, and that you need that. Cool. So Marianne, time-saving tools, apps, techniques, what do you got for us?
There's all kinds of them, and everyone's different. So here's some thoughts. First off, a notebook. You cannot go without a notebook, because you don't want to hold all of this in your head. You don't want to have to remember absolutely everything. So have a notebook that you write things into, and then at the end of the day or the start of the day, you can just go back through and kind of capture and look at things that need to be done. And this way it's off your plate. Find a really good task list app if you like to use apps. There's lots of them out there. My absolute favorite one right now is Trello. I find it's really easy to use. And I really like it. And I can plug in dates. So again, I can go in and put information in there, set a date to it. I don't have to remember it again until that pops back up into my email, which is where I like to get it. I'm a bit of an email junkie. So I filter everything into my email. I hate doing, I've got Messenger and I got Facebook Messenger and I've got all this stuff coming in. And what I do is I do a lot of copy and paste and email it to myself because I file everything in my email. I use the task feature and the snooze feature in my email, which helps keep me organized.
Wow.
Keep a calendar, put things in your calendar and schedule some blank time in there for you to re-energize yourself. Don't pack it so full that you can't find that. Put 30 minutes in there, that's your time, or an hour, and make it work for you. Schedule that massage and put it in your calendar.
Yes.
I guess my second most favorite is LastPass. So if you struggle with passwords, then use a password keeper, and LastPass is fantastic, especially if you have people who work with you, because you can share your passwords with them. So you don't have to remember your password every time you log into something. It's all right there. So those are a few. There's so many apps, but it's finding what works best for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And having a few that you start with so that you can actually implement them properly is the best way to go. Now,
absolutely. Yeah. Don't jump in and say, okay, I'm going to put everything into this task list. Start with a short one. Make sure you like it. Make sure you like how it's set up, and then build upon it.
Good tips. So these ladies, all my listeners out there, Wanda and Marianne, are lovely. There's so much more to them that I haven't even been able to touch on. For example, Wanda is a Reiki master and teacher. She's also a radionics practitioner, which I'm going to have to go Google that, right? And if we think of Marianne, there's other cool things that she's done. Like she's been a volunteer instructor for a public speaking program where she could teach in China. And she's also niching her VA business to really be an expert and help others in how to get their newsletter content created. So both of these ladies have so much more to offer. I encourage you to jump over to their websites. Their website links are in the show notes so that you can easily go over and learn more about them. But my biggest takeaways here is there's such a beautiful kind of dance that happens between time and energy. And if we can learn to blend the two of them, maybe some of you are more like, I just want to implement all these time-saving techniques and energy, whatever. And some of you are like, energy is awesome. And I want to be in energy land. And I'm not really good with calendars. Well, you need to blend them both. And so take these little tips. And so here's my little recap here, which is not little in the way it's super powerful, that, if you were to take the breathing technique that Wanda said and use that before you created the list that Marianne said, your list is going to be more in tune with where you need to go. If between all these things that you've put in your calendar, you take a moment to either go into nature or to look at that nature image, you're going to be more productive when you get into that item that you're working on. If you look at some of the tools that were given to you by Marianne and those techniques, those different apps, you can also find apps that will help you to tune into your energy. And just as you're going to add your items into your calendar, add yourself. And why don't you have a little ritual that before you go to do an activity, you think about pushing that energy into it. So there are some new concepts here that you potentially have heard, or maybe you've heard some things before, but you're not implementing them. So I encourage you, take one thing that Wanda said, take one thing that Marianne said, implement it into your life so that you can truly leverage some more time and energy. So thank you so much, Wanda and Marianne.
Thank you, Diane.
Yeah, I actually feel like I have more energy We were very
too.
time efficient today. So to all my listeners out there, if you like this episode, make sure you subscribe so that you can get information on future episodes. And also, if you haven't yet, jump over to the Dynamic Women Global Community on Facebook. It is a free community. And if you want to see me and meet some other amazing ladies like Wanda and Marianne, I encourage you to jump into the group. You're going to learn some tips and tricks on how to really push yourself forward in your life and your business. And it is all ladies because we're dynamic and we're the dynamic women. So thanks. And until next time, stay dynamic.
Thank you, Dynamic Women, for joining us today. Please hop on over to iTunes to subscribe and leave us a review. Who do you know who needs to hear our message? We'd love it if you'd share our channel with your friends and family. If you're ready to be more dynamic, have more balance and more success, head over to www.dynamicwomenclub.com/free gift for your Key to Success book. Stay dynamic.